Here in our Klingspor Technical Department, we field numerous questions about the correct way to measure an abrasive belt. And since we see somewhat tight tolerances on a lot of the various sanding machines that are in use today, it is very important that we order the correct size. Of course, the most accurate way to ensure that you get the proper sized abrasive belt for your machine is to go by the specifications obtained from the manufacturer. But if that information is not readily available, there are several different ways you can measure an old used belt. In today's video, we will look at a couple of the most common ways to measure a belt and what we consider to be the best way. The thought behind this method is, if I can measure around the perimeter or the circumference of the belt while the joint is still intact, it should give me the length. The problem with this method is that it is nearly impossible to hold the tape measure tight to the belt, as it likes to flex in and out. Also, a metal tape measure is being used, it will kink in several spots rather than bending smoothly around the arc. So we can easily see that obtaining an accurate measurement with this method is going to be difficult at best. The second school of thought is, if I can fold the belt in half, measure it, and then double the measurement, it will give me the length of the belt. The problem with this theory comes into play when you consider the thickness and rigidity of the abrasive material. The abrasives used in today's machinery must be able to handle not only the tension that the machine requires, but also the pressures added by the sanding process. The coated abrasives that can handle these tensions and pressures efficiently are generally thick and stiff and do not fold or crease very easily. So at best, you end up with a length measurement that is close to what you need, but not very accurate. The first thing that you want to do to get the most accurate length measurement is to cut the belt as straight as you can from one side to the other. This will allow you to lay the belt material out flat on a good flat surface. Once you have the belt laid out flat, simply measure along one side of the belt to obtain an accurate length. Note that these techniques will work for just about any machine that would require the use of an abrasive belt, from a small file belt sander to a large wide belt machine. In the case that all you have is a brand new belt that you do not want to cut and measure, there is what we consider the next best way to get an accurate measurement. On a longer belt, this method could require a second pair of hands. First, get a piece of string that is a few inches longer than you would need to wrap completely around the circumference of the belt. Hold the end of the string as close as possible to the joint on the belt and wrap the string around the belt. It is important to maintain the same distance from side to side on the belt to ensure that the string is straight with the belt edge. Wrap it around until you cross the belt joint. You will notice that the string conforms tightly to the curves of the belt. Take a fine point permanent marker and mark the string exactly where it crosses the joint. Lay the string on a flat surface and tape down the end. Stretch the string out as straight as possible and measure from the end of the string to the mark you made earlier. This method will give you a measurement that is very close, if not the exact size you need. In the case that you don't have an old belt to measure at all and you have purchased belts in the past, you can obtain the size from your past sales history. But if you have never purchased a belt for this particular machine, an internet search for machine specifications or manufacturer contact information is your best option. Once you have obtained the correct size for the abrasive belt that fits your machine, we encourage you to mark the belt size with a permanent marker on the inside of the access door of your machine for future reference. Now that you have the correct width and length of your abrasive belt, simply call your local Klingspor representative or our customer relations department at 1-800-645-5555 and order your new Klingspor abrasive belts today.